Good morning, good morning, good morning. We had a little bit of technical difficulty there, but we are on. Yay! You want to talk about having coronary attack when your guest is somewhere and we're not quite sure. Well, he's here, so no worries. We're going to introduce him in just a moment. First and foremost, we always start out by sharing with everybody what we're doing, what this is all about. We are Wealth Warriors. In fact, you can go to our elusive exclusive Facebook page right now and you can type in, I am a first time. Oh my goodness, I can't believe I lost my own train of thought there. I am, excuse me, a first generation wealth baby. That's right. You are, I am, or maybe you're not. In fact, I know Bob is not, and he's going to tell us about that. But if you are a first generation wealth baby, then go on up to our elusive exclusive Facebook site and hashtag I am a first generation wealth baby. What does that mean? Here's the deal. We are, the United States, this country was built on the idea of freedom, the opportunity to create your own wealth. We have people that will swim the shore, to swim shore to shore to get to the United States. Why? Because they see this as a land of milk and honey. And so as a result of that, what they're doing is they are doing all that they can. They have a burning desire to bring themselves here to the United States to create that wealth. And so what we want to do is we want to help people. We want to help you and I. We want to help folks that are here to create the generational wealth that they're looking for. And what does that mean? That means that we are going to have conversations. We're going to have discussions. And we are going to bring on people that will help us advance our agenda. Now, I know there might be, if you're hearing a little bit of feedback, I promise you we're going to fix that because I'm hearing a little bit of feedback too. But the beauty of us being live is that you are seeing us here at Studio 116 in motion, sharing with you. So, we are first generation wealth babies. We also want to keep the dollars within the Wealth Warrior community. And what does that mean? That means that what we're doing is we are figuring out a way to make that happen. And how we make that happen is we share the business with each other. And what do I mean when I say we share the business with each other? That means go, periodically, let us know who you are. Let us know what you do. I got the ball started. I said my name, where I'm from, and then I also shared one of the businesses that I participate in. So when you go up to the elusive exclusive Facebook site for Wealth Warriors, you'll see it listed there. Right now it's public, it's open so that we can share the news with everyone. However, it closes down at the end of the show, but they'll still be able to see the link. They'll still be able to see what we have posted. So go on up there and post. This is an opportunity to share who you are, what you do, and what you're looking for. Are you looking for business partners? Are you looking for some kind of business? Do you have a service to offer? If you do, we want to know about that. Why? So that we can, in fact, share that information amongst each other and create. That's right, create revenue within our own household, within our own family, our own community, our own Facebook community, because that's what this is about as well. So with that being said, what are we talking about today when we talk about a serial entrepreneur? Well, that's what exactly we're going to do. We're going to talk about a serial entrepreneur. We're going to talk about what are the differences between a serial entrepreneur, or rephrase that, let me say between an entrepreneur, somebody who's self-employed, and somebody who is a small business owner. Sometimes what happens is we have those three dynamics. We think they're all the same thing. Well, last week I talked about entrepreneurship, but now I want to bring somebody to the forefront who might have a different perspective on that. In fact, I'm sure that he does. There's a definition that's a dictionary definition, and then there is a definition that we live by. So with that being said, I have the privilege, the pleasure, the honor of bringing a gentleman to you who is, in my opinion, a serial entrepreneur. Not only is he a serial entrepreneur, he has a wealth of life experience. He's been in corporate America, so he knows what the politics of corporate America are about. He also is an author of a book. The title just caused me to fall out on the floor, so I'm going to let him share the title with you. So again, you have a business person, you have a corporate American type, you have an author, and you have somebody that has made a decision that they want to live outside of the United States of America. And he's going to share that with you too. So we're going to get the real deal, down and factual. So I want to bring to the floor none other than Mr. Robert H. Randolph. Mr. Randolph, are you there?
I think I am, according to what I'm looking at. Oh, yeah, I think I can see myself. Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you okay, sir. So go for it.
Great. Good morning, everyone. It's a real pleasure to be here, and there are lots of other things that you possibly could be doing this morning, and I really appreciate your spending time with Brent and myself. Yeah, entrepreneurship is a really big deal, so I hope you'll get some tips and ideas out of our discussion this morning. So welcome.
I appreciate that, Rob. I appreciate that tremendously. You know, one of the things that I find ever so interesting is in fact, the three titles that I gave you: the small business owner, the entrepreneur, and small business owner, entrepreneur, and then the self-employed individual. And so with that being said, I'd like you to give a definition. Here's what I'm gonna do. I think it's either you or I have some feedback, and I'm not sure who does. So we might want to turn our volume down just a little bit. With that being said, Bob, give us the definition in your opinion on those three. Again, self-employed, small business owner, entrepreneur. What are your thoughts?
Well, that's an interesting set of distinctions. It's kind of interesting when you really look at it. No matter where we are, I think we're self-employed. You know, even if you're working on a job, you're there for yourself, and you have to do things that for yourself that make you stand out in the crowd in a corporate setting. So, in a sense, we're always self-employed.
I got to stop you right there, Bob, for just a moment and say, I have never heard anybody explain it that way. It's usually the job and then the other. So that's a very interesting way that you shared that. Please continue on.
As a matter of fact, taking that even further, it's actually possible. I read an article recently that really struck home with me, and that is, it's possible to be an entrepreneur and be on a job. And the idea of being an entrepreneur is having an interest in making a business move forward one way or the other. And either it's your business, which is the ideal case, or it's someone else's, because even within the context, I worked for a large local computer company for many years, and even within the context of that company, I created several businesses. One of those businesses turned out to be produce $500,000 revenue that the company was not capturing at the time I started that business within the business. So you can be an entrepreneur and be employed at a job. Entrepreneur is about your spirit. It's about your attitude. It's about being aware. It's about looking to see what it is that you can do to move the business forward one way or the other. And usually our measure of moving the business forward turns out to be profits and reducing expenses and increasing profits. So that's really the goal of most businesses, and it should be.
Okay, I get that part. Small business owner, self-employed. I hear what you're saying, and you're being very kind. I hear what you're saying, but if it break it down to the purest sense. So, in the purest sense, if we were to define all three, what is self-employed? Last week, I had an opportunity to talk with our audience about Robert Kiyosaki's book, and to talk about the four quadrants, in which he talks about being employed, being self-employed, being a business owner, and being an investor. So, in the purest sense, in your opinion, what is small business? When we do first the definition, what is the definition of small business owner?
Well, small business owner is someone that positions themselves to be the leader in their own business. It's a business that they own. If you think about it in terms of stock, shares of stock, they're typically the person who owns 100% of the stock, or at least 51% of the stock of a business entity. And from there, they move forward with the plans that they need to put in place, the employees, the capital, structuring an entire business, and it's their responsibility to make it happen.
So what I hear there is, I think you were just butting onto the small business owner. So what the audience would want to get real clarity on is being self-employed. It really is you. You are the chief cook, bottle washer. You handle everything,
including emptying the waste paper baskets at night if you have to.
Absolutely. And then you move from there to the small business owner, and that's when you're picking up what the employees, things of that nature. Is that the distinction you're making between the two?
Sure. And you're developing, and there are a number of businesses now, by the way, that don't necessarily include employees that are very successful. The example is the number of online businesses that have been created on the internet. They don't necessarily involve employees. I think the distinction between to being a small business is that the entity that you're in charge of grows, starts to create some kind of cash flow, and there's a definite income, and things are happening, and there's a definite structure to whatever the business, whether it's employees or not employees.
Okay, very cool, very cool. Now we've gotten the definitions, and I know folks are going, oh my goodness, Brent, you're spending an awful lot of time on that. Well, I'm saying to folks, I want to make sure we understand, because now we're going to move into the conversation of entrepreneur and the French term. Bob, your definition, dictionary definition, whatever definition you use to define entrepreneur, tell me about that.
Well, it's kind of loose, and I hope I don't end up rambling about it. But I think basically it's having the attitude. It's really having an attitude of working for one's self, working for one's own enrichment or growth or expansion. So that's the basic attitude, is the idea of working for one's self and one's self-interest. The other definition and the other element of the definition is looking for opportunities to increase one's, I don't want to use the word income, but certainly to increase one's wealth in the context that we're speaking today.
Okay. I want to give you something that was given to me, Bob, and let me ask you how you view that. Last week I talked about, and believe me, Wealth Warriors, I've got a whole host of questions. So Bob's going to be answering a few more questions than what we're just doing on definitions. But in the context, Bob, what I shared with the audience is that that entrepreneurial endeavors generally are about more than one activity. In fact, I remember a gentleman sharing with me, it's you have revenue coming from one cost center, another cost center, another cost center. So you are not you're leveraging yourself. You're leveraging your time, and you've got money coming in from multiple sources. And that's what he used to define entrepreneurship. So, with that being said, how would you see? Would you adopt that same thought process?
Um,
Uh-oh, I saw the library back there, boy. I saw that library. I saw the books.
you can't do it without books. But anyway, well, I think entrepreneurship ultimately starts with the attitude, and as we said, moves from there to some kind of structure in which to express that attitude. And it's usually some sort of business structure, developing a corporation, uh, uh, or partnership, or some kind of formal structure for your business, and then moving from there to expand that business and think of all the possible ways that you can expand that business. And the bottom line ultimately becomes thinking of all the ways that you can serve your customers or your target market.
Okay, I've got you on that one. Let me ask you this, Bob. Uh, I believe strongly that entrepreneurship is clearly a necessary vehicle to create wealth, or to create wealth, or to create generational wealth. Talk to me about that. And I see the
Oh,
smile coming to
absolutely.
your face, though.
Yes, absolutely. Unfortunately, we spend a large portion of our time creating wealth for others. And ultimately, the secret is to begin to create and find opportunities and vehicles for creating wealth for ourselves. And that's the ultimate goal, I think, that people should have if they're going to have any chance at generational wealth. It just can't happen. It can't happen. The bottom line is it can't happen on a job. You have to do it for yourself.
Sorry about that. One of the things that I share with people is that, and you take a look at various leaders. Other than, for example, the President of the United States. However, you look at business individuals, and you will find that entrepreneurship, that owning, is a critical part of that wealth. Is a critical
Yes.
part to pass on to generation to generation, to pass on to our children. So it begs to ask the question then, okay, again, is it a vehicle for creating wealth? And if in fact it is a vehicle for creating wealth, why is it a vehicle? And Bob, bear in mind that the individuals that most of us that are here are first generation wealth babies. So that means that we are the ones, the buck is starting with us. We're the ones that are creating that wealth. With that being said,
Yes.
again, talk to us about the fact that I certainly believe this, but I don't want to put words in your mouth. But what I do want to hear is ownership. And we know that there's a time value of money too. If you are on the job, and I noticed how you treated, you said it was a state of mind for a person who even in that job to be an entrepreneur. Now we take entrepreneurship and bring wealth into the conversation. Talk to us.
Oh, yes. I think if referring back to Robert Kiyosaki, he makes a very clear point that the the only way actually that you're going to create any wealth is by ownership combined with investment. In other words, you have to own the source of the income. You have to own the source of the revenue. And you have to be the person who drives those elements toward creating wealth, and it starts with creating profits. And once you begin to do that, and what he suggests is that you take those profits and put them into assets that will generate ongoing income. So
You
that's
hit
kind of the chain of
I
it.
gotta break you for just 1 second. You hit something powerful. You said you gotta own the income. What does that mean? Own. I like that. What does own the income mean?
Well, there are different ways of measuring that. One way of measuring it is that you have a business entity in which you own 100% of the stock, or 51% of the stock at least. That's
Okay,
a
so
kind of a basic
is that
measure.
also, Bob, is that also attitude? Because I don't have a corporation, so I am I won't say a solopreneur, but I don't have a stock, so my business is not a corp or something of that nature. So when you're saying own 100% of the stock, you also mean own 100% of the business, or from a mindset, consider yourself having 100% having stock in your business, or phantom stock. How about that?
Yes, you
Okay.
absolutely. In other words, you are the person. I think about it also as you're the person who's going to make it happen, and it's not going to happen without you. And if you make it happen, then you're going to reap the benefits of the income and the growth of the income as the business grows. So it may not be a stock-based business, but it's clearly a business that you own somehow or other.
Okay, I can appreciate that. Thank you very much. Hey, for those of us all wealth warriors, if you own a business, then I want you to hit the keys. I own a business. Tell us what business you actually own, because we want to know. We might need that service. And let us know, is this a family-owned business? Is this an LLC? Is it a corporation? Are you a solopreneur? Are you a serialpreneur? But hit the keys and let us know what, in fact, you actually are. Bob, I like that, owning 100% of the income. So you own 100% of making it happen. Is that what I hear you saying?
Exactly. And that's the key.
Okay. Statistically wise, we oftentimes hear that small businesses run the country. Do you have any stats or anything of that nature about how entrepreneurship impacts our economy? Any in either statistics, things you've read? Tell us a little bit about that.
Uh, Actually, I don't have any numbers in front of me. I probably should have gotten some of those together. It's my sense that, as from my past experience, and is that small businesses are a very, very large percentage of the economy. Uh, I heard quotes like the country wouldn't, the economy of the country wouldn't move forward without the assistance of small business. Small businesses are the people who hire most of the people who are employed. It's some very, very large percentage. Certainly, uh, probably, I would guesstimate just from my just kind of remembering some vague numbers, that I would guesstimate that small businesses are about 90% of the economy.
That probably would be a high number, but I'll tell you what, it would clearly be a statistic that is in line with reality. That it is very, very high. In fact, one of the reasons we know that the number is so significant, and maybe and actually it's probably more like about 80%, but that is still extraordinary. Anything above 70% is going to be extraordinary as far as small business ownership is concerned in this country. And you're right, Bob. I've read the stat. I've read articles that share with us how powerful small business and how necessary small business is. Not all corporations can. And in fact, if those corporations took on all those individuals, their profits would not be what they are today. So it is incredibly powerful. Bob, in terms of In terms of models or how people own businesses, what have you found to be the vehicles? Are they self-employed? Do they own corporations, S corps, C corps? You know, I'm a network marketer. Is it network marketing? What type of businesses right now, or business models are people gravitating towards?
Well, I think I think you hit them, Brent. The one of the major emerging models for business today is network marketing. There have been Forbes articles and people like Richard Branson, uh, who's one of the probably the most extreme entrepreneur on the planet today, perhaps besides
Yes,
Warren Buffett.
he's extreme for sure. He is extreme.
Yeah, I really like the guy. So anyway, he's suggesting that network marketing is certainly one of the key business models that's emerging very powerfully in the economy. Um, in addition, no, I would say uh, the other thing is online businesses. I've been pursuing online businesses quite a bit, and there are some major opportunities in online businesses that can create a considerable amount of revenue. And so I personally have been pursuing both models. Um, Part of my business activity is based in an online business, which I'm developing, as well as looking at some network marketing opportunities. And there are a large and increasing number of them that are available and are very straightforward to not only join, but to own and relatively inexpensive to develop.
Gotcha. I appreciate that. In fact, I recall trying to think of who it was. Oh, Brian Carruthers saying that today you can own a business for less than $500. And that is a reality. And that's phenomenally powerful to own a business for less than $500. Bob, why do you feel that, your personal, why do you feel that the online um, as well as the network marketing models are the ones that people are gravitating towards? What makes that a reality right now?
Well, I think that the proliferation of the personal computer, uh, everyone just about that you could think of, even uh, the most financially strapped people own a laptop, and the access to the internet uh, is still pretty prevalent over throughout the entire United States. So people have the tools now. The internet is there; it's readily available, and it's become a pretty significant way of doing business. People feel comfortable in using their credit cards to do things online. Um, the uh, the commercial success of the internet has made it possible for people to carry on businesses uh, just anywhere in they are in the United States, and in many cases anywhere they are in the world. So I think it's there. It's there for people to plug into.
Bob, as far as industries are concerned, um, where are you seeing uh, growth or opportunity when you're looking at home-based business or non-home-based business? It can be brick and mortar, but where are you seeing those opportunities come in, and what would people want to be taking a look at?
Well, I don't want this to sound like a commercial or anything, but I've just recently plugged into the travel industry. Uh, it's about an $8 trillion industry. Uh, I am pursuing that. I'm also pursuing some work in, believe it or not, solar energy. That's an emerging industry. I've done quite a bit of work there. Let's see. And of course, the basic technology industries remain as lucrative and expansive as they've ever been. One of the entities I'm looking at is video conferencing through high technology that can be done on the internet. So I'm also pursuing that.
Wow. So what, let me get this right. Which I probably want to say, let me get this right. But the other is, when we look at things, we can do about 3 things and do them very well. And it's ironic that I was going to say that, but yet you hit all 3. So that really did, in fact, make me laugh. So what I hear you saying is that you've got travel because of the magnitude of the industry. So you're in travel. Then you also said that you are in solar, or no, rephrase, you're in energy, in solar energy. And then you hit us with technology. Is that correct? Is that what I heard?
Yes. And, you know, those businesses, for the moment, seem relatively unlimited.
Wow. Excellent, excellent, excellent. And ladies and gentlemen, therein lies the serial entrepreneur. The person that does not have all his or her eggs in one basket, but look at the baskets that Bob said he is in. You know, if travel isn't your bailiwick, so be it. Energy. We know that we need renewable energy. That may be what it is that you're interested in. And technology is always going to stay at the forefront. It is not going away. In fact, if anything, what happens is it keeps not redefining, it keeps redeveloping itself. It transforms itself. So clearly you have vehicles that you are able to pursue. The entrepreneur, and Bob, again, I'm going to come back when I say serial. Serial means you've got multiple action going on. Would you agree with me in that thought process that serial is not one vehicle or one avenue, but you are actively pursuing and taking action in those areas? Would I be correct about that?
Yes. As a matter of fact, one of the most exciting books that I have in my library, you mentioned, is a book by Robert Allen called Multiple Streams of Income. And I think it's a must read for anybody that's interested in creating wealth. You cannot exist in today's economy without multiple streams of income. There's just absolutely no argument. So you have to pursue a model, a business orientation that says, what I'm about creating multiple streams of income. And out of those multiple streams of income, you're going to develop you have the opportunity at least to develop some realistic wealth. And it can only be done with multiple streams of income as far as I'm concerned.
You know, Bob, I'm glad you brought that up. One of the things that I have heard people say, especially those that pursue the model of network marketing. And no, ladies and gentlemen, this is not a network marketing commercial. You did not hear me mention what my opportunity is. You just heard me mention the model. Okay, so with that being said, Bob, in all seriousness, one of the things that I hear people say is, well, you know what, Brent? People look at me and they say, oh my goodness, you're doing this. I thought yesterday you were doing that. So, and now you want me to come over and you want me to be involved with you in this or involved with you in that. And it frightens people to involve themselves in more than one activity. So talk to me about, you mentioned an author that you like a great deal. Talk to me about that serial entrepreneur from that perspective, because people do become afraid. They're afraid of how people will view them, their opinion of them, because they are in pursuit. And you said that a person looks at, if you're going to be entrepreneurial, you're going to look at various opportunities. So talk about that from that pursuit perspective.
Well, the first thing, Brent, is if you're worried about what people say about you, you probably should turn in your entrepreneurial shoes and get off the wagon. Uh,
Oh,
One of the almost criteria for being an entrepreneur is you cannot be worried about what people say or think about you. Excuse me. So that's number one.
point well
Number
taken, by
two,
the way. Point well taken. I like that. Do not sit there and be concerned about what somebody else is saying, because if you're in action and they're not,
excuse me.
who's gonna advance themselves? Please go right ahead, Bob. Love that.
Absolutely. So you've got to move out from the crowd, to say the least. And it really, and what it's about, if you're committed, and commitment is a very important word, by the way. If you're committed to creating wealth for yourself, you cannot afford to let much of anything get in your way. You've got to be unstoppable. You've got to be, you got to go places that you didn't think you could go. You've got to, you've got to just move ahead, kind of march to your own drums. Uh, and so that's the key there. Um, I lost my train of thought as for or I got carried away on what the point our point was. Say that again for me.
Well, you know,
Uh,
your point, yeah, actually, your point was well taken. And that is, in certain business models, people are pursuing and they try one thing, it doesn't work. They try something else, it doesn't work. They try something else, it doesn't work. And so what happens is, in each instance, they are looking for somebody that's going to purchase their services, purchase their product, be associated with them, and they get the hand. No, I don't want to hear it. You were doing this, you did that, you did the other. This wasn't successful, that wasn't successful. Why should I follow you? And so they become afraid of doing something. They become afraid of what people will say, what they will
yeah,
think.
yes. And I had my minister, unfortunately, he's passed on, but one of the things that my minister always said is try, try, and try. And if you fail, get up and try again. And that is part of the characteristic of a true entrepreneur, is that they learn from their failures. They use their failures to move forward, to build on. They don't look at their failures as, oh, well, nothing works. They don't allow themselves the luxury of of being a victim of failure. You use failure to move yourself forward. You take a hard look. If you fail at something, take a hard look at what you did or what you didn't do, and use that to move forward. Because, as I said, one of the primary characteristics of an entrepreneur is they're unstoppable. If one thing doesn't work, they find something else. They they're just moving all the time, and they don't have time for pity parties.
True that. The word courage, the word
Yeah,
courage should be, in fact, that should be the inspirational word every day. I have courage. I am powerful, because you really do need to do that to be an entrepreneur. Hey, Bob, how long do you think it takes? When you said the word commitment, how long is commitment in your book, for you, or in your book? How long would you say a person has to be committed to that pursuit?
um, well, it's I've written, as a matter of fact, I developed an entire seminar and workshop at one point about commitment. And from my point of view, commitment is one of the most powerful forces on the planet. It's right up there with electricity. Uh, and commitment is something that most people don't take into account My other favorite author, Peter Drucker, made some. If you're not familiar with Peter Drucker, he's a farmer. I don't think he's alive anymore, but he's a former business philosopher.
Okay.
And professor.
By the way, I am familiar with Peter Drucker. Keep going.
And Peter Drucker says that if you look at markets and you look at market leaders, the thing that differentiates them is commitment, their commitment to the market. And so what commitment looks like is if you start out on a venture and you're not fully committed, then at the first sign of trouble, you tend to run away. You tend to throw in the towel. So, however, on the other hand, a committed person, a person that's committed to a business, a particular business, will, at the first sign of trouble, they'll stop, look to see what's wrong and what needs fixing, and they'll move on. So I think that commitment is an ongoing thing. As a matter of fact, the process I've developed requires a person to review their commitments every 6 months and literally make a list of what it is they're committed to. And by the way, some people are committed to failing.
Whoa, wait a second. Hold it. Woo! Explain yourself, sir.
Well, what happens as we go through life? I'll give you the quick version of the workshop.
Okay.
What we do is we go through life with a bunch of commitments, and however, most of those commitments we've made we made them at an unconscious level. So we're just tooling along. Life happens to us, and we react, and we look at our circumstances and all that stuff. Well, actually, if you look at your circumstances, that tells you what you're committed to. And if you're broke, you have to admit honestly when you look at it that that's what you're committed to. If you're committed to being rich, then that's what you're committed to. So I say that you have to sit down and consciously list the things that you are committed to. And you have to face the fact that you may be committed to some negative stuff, like being poor, being broke, and that stuff. So you have to really work on yourself in terms of sorting out what your commitments are, what you're committed to, what you're not committed to, and it's a very similar process to making goals.
You know, that reminds me a lot of the book, The Prophet, not The Prophet, I'm sorry, The Secret. We talk about energy and how energy we have to attract to us, or the law of attraction. We have to attract to us. So it sounds a little bit like the law of attraction.
In a way, it's getting clear about what it is that you want to have happen in your life. And that's based on the notion that you create your life. And once and there's a statement that says something like, once you're committed, then all kinds of things start to happen to help you. But until you're committed, you're just kind of flapping around in the breeze.
Okay.
So I encourage new entrepreneurs and people that want to become entrepreneurs to sit down and make a list of what it is they're committed to. And it's more than one thing. People usually they hear the word commitment and it sounds like this some one thing they're committed to. But when you look at life, you're committed to a whole bunch of stuff. So you have to sort out what that stuff is, be clear about it, and then go after it. And I'm telling you, amazing things happen once you get clear about what you're committed to.
I like that very, very much. I heard, Bob, it seems like right now we've probably got about we've got about 3 authors. I was going to ask you, who are your favorite authors? But right now I've heard you mention Drucker. We both mentioned Robert Kiyosaki. Who else is on your list of favorite authors, especially around entrepreneurship?
Well, I think also mentioned Robert Allen.
Yes.
And there's a woman by the name of Laurel Lingenmeyer who, big pardon?
I said, that is quite a name.
Yeah. And she's very active. Also, one of the people that I have been following recently is a fellow by the name of T. Harv Eker. And his organization puts on a series of seminars that help people wrap their minds around the idea of becoming wealthy. And he does that. He does a series of seminars called here we go, called the Millionaire Mind.
Okay. And I recall you mentioning that to us. Appreciate that. Appreciate that. So would somebody in our Wealth Warriors audience, give us the authors? So we've got Robert Kiyosaki, we have Brian Carruthers, we have, give me two more, Bob.
Robert Allen.
Robert Allen.
And T. Harv Eker.
T. Harv Eker. Excellent, excellent, excellent. Before I go on, folks, I just want to do a little bit of a summary. And guess what? We've got 10 more minutes. So if you have not invited anybody into the conversation today, I want you to invite folks into the conversation, because it is a powerful conversation that we've had this morning. We have talked about, and how are you going to invite them in? Go ahead and tweet out that I am listening to a powerful conversation on serial entrepreneurship. Invite some of your friends to come into the conversation on Facebook. Invite them to go up to the Elusive Exclusive Facebook site and welcome themselves in. Whoever, list out the authors that we've talked about today. You know what? This is not an inactive activity here. It's listening, it's using the fingers, it is the sharing. We are all part of this, because what is our goal, our mission? Our goal, our mission, 60 months, and we are at 56 of the 60 months. So we've got 56 more months to go to impact 100,000 families, 100,000 families to create wealth. We want to have a summit. This is a wealth commitment. Each of us are wealth warriors. We are fighting for each other, for our financial future, for our family's financial future, for generational financial future. So what have we talked about this morning with the illustrious, industrious Robert Randolph? We've gotten very clear about the definitions of self-employed versus entrepreneur versus small business owner. There should be no question in anybody's mind about what those definitions are. We've talked about the fact that entrepreneurship is about wealth. It is designed to create wealth. Entrepreneurship, a French word, it speaks to multiple areas of income, multiple avenues of income. And one of the things that I really appreciated that Bob spoke about is we have to own the income. That was powerful. I have to tell you, I hadn't heard that before, and I loved it. So hashtag own your income. Hashtag own my income, because that was incredibly powerful. We didn't have statistics. However, we had the notion from what we've read previously. So we didn't have the specific statistics, but we know that small business ownership represents 70% of our U.S. economy. That is phenomenally powerful. That means that we are drivers of the U.S. economy. Bob talked about 3 specific marketplaces that you are able to grow a business in. He talked about travel. He talked about technology. He talked about online businesses. So that again is powerful. He talked about business models, and we know there are a multiple of business models. Probably the most popular, you're going to have network marketing. Richard Branson has talked about that. That is not up and coming. That is here. We've talked about the conventional self-employed. We've talked about LLCs, S corps, C corporations that are powerful entities. We talked about the five authors that are really popular when it comes to entrepreneurship. And we also need to throw in there Jim Rohn, who we know is passed, but Jim Rohn's books will live on for infinity. We know Think and Grow Rich, Napoleon Hill, they are the classics that it doesn't matter. You can pick it up today. You could have picked it up 10 years prior. The information is classic. It carries on through lifetime. What I want to do is take the last few minutes to cover a couple of things. First, I share with everybody for today only. If you text me your name, your address, and your city, state, zip code, I am going to send you out Making My First 10 Million by Brian Carruthers. That is going to be free to you. It's a $10 value. I think it's $1 million value myself, but it is a $10 value. I am going to mail that out to you today. It is a today only. That means if you send me the text tomorrow, I am so sorry. It is today. Why? Because I want you to take action, because action is critical. So that is to move you to take action. Want to take the last few minutes to share with you. The month of July is about entrepreneurship. That is our focus. Next week, again, we're going to have entrepreneurship. I'm interviewing local entrepreneurs. How about that? I'm also looking for individuals that would like to be a co-host with me on this Wealth Warrior broadcast. If you want to be large and in charge, if you want to show yourself, if you want to get visible, I want to give you a platform to do that. I am looking for 4 co-hosts. That means that, well, we'll have somebody that will be the first Saturday, the second Saturday, the third Saturday, the fourth Saturday to co-host with me. That means that they may co-host solo when I am not in town. So I'm looking for 4 individuals. If that is you, then I want you to send me a text at area code 617-438-7949. Again, 617-438-7949 and say, yes, Brent, I'd like to co-host with you. So I'm putting the word out there, and guess what? I'm going to the Wealth Warriors first to see who would like to join me in that. Bob, I know we've only got 4 minutes left, but I would be remiss. I've got to have you share with us. You have co-authored some books. You've authored some books. Tell us, what is one of your favorite books? And secondly, who are you working with to produce an up-and-coming book? So please, the floor is yours. You got 2 minutes, and then I got to wrap it up.
Yeah, I sat down. The first book I wrote, and I've self-published them rather than try to go through the New York mill. And the first book I wrote is called Rich White Folks of All the Strange Things. And it's a personal memoir that talks about what it's like growing up Black in the 40s and 50s and struggling to grasp the middle class lifestyle. And so I personally think it's a little read. It's a small book, and it talks about, and it gives some of my family history and also my struggles through being a poor kid down the block trying to get through an education and get a job.
So, wow. Woo! Deep. Okay, I like it. I like it.
You can find that on my Facebook page. I have a Rich White Folks Facebook page.
Okay.
I'm working on, in terms of entrepreneurship, there are 2 things. One, I've written, is more of a workbook called Get a Job No Matter What. And it's kind of hard to become an entrepreneur without a job, to get you some foundation so that you can begin to pursue other things. And so I've developed this workshop and a workbook associated with it called Get a Job No Matter What. And you mentioned the law of attraction. It's what I think is an innovative approach to getting a job, which is using the law of attraction. And the fundamental.
Where can somebody, Bob, where can somebody get a copy of that, or what do they need to do in order to access that?
I have a Facebook page called Get a Job No Matter What.
Oh,
If they would like that page, I can get some information from them, and I will send them a copy of the workbook free.
Wow. Bob, can you put that up on the Wealth Warriors Facebook page? Can you?
Oh, sure. I'd be happy to do that. I'll put a link, an address that people can send me their information, and I'll be happy to turn around and send them that workbook.
Okay.
And the other thing I'm working on.
And you know what? I'm going to have to hold on that, which means we're going to have you back. We are actually at the top of the hour. And so that means it's time to wrap up.
Time to go.
Oh my goodness, Bob, first, thank you so very, very much for being with us today. You were a delight. And I'll tell you what, you put some nuggets out there today. I am most enthusiastic. I know people are going to want to see the replay, play it more than one time. And quite frankly, that's what we want to have happen. We definitely want to have you back. So, I'm going to be calling you and saying, when can we get you back?
Okay, great. I'm imminently available.
Thank you so much. Everybody, it has been a wonderful morning. Thank you for being with us. We will be back here next week, same time, same channel, 9 a.m. Wealth Warriors broadcast. And in the words of Trevor Otts, go out and be amazing. See you next week. Bye now.
Okay, great. Thank you, Brent.
You're welcome.